Welcome everybody to the Tall Tales, Taller Times podcast where we bring you the best hunting stories from the best hunting trips with the best hunting buddies. Today I'm joined with one of my greatest hunting buddies, my day one hunting buddy, my ride or die, the man who taught me the love for hunting, and my dad and co-host Ty Metcalf. How you doing, Dad?
Great, excited to be here. First podcast.
Yeah, me too, excited. This is our very first podcast, and here at Tall Tales, Taller Times, we got a long list of hunting stories we're excited to share with you, and an even longer list of hunting buddies with some incredible hunting stories that we're excited to have on this podcast. But, since it is our first episode, we thought we'd start at the very beginning, a long time ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. When my dad was a kid. And so you're like, what are you, Dad? You're like 89 now? Or?
53, I think.
53?
Yeah, 53.
53. So forgive his memory a little bit, but we're going to start at the beginning. So Dad, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ty Metcalf. I'm a father, husband, 4 kids. Love the outdoors. Love spending time with my family and friends in the outdoors, and just excited to join your podcast and share our stories, and hopefully people like listening to them, and if you don't, that's okay too. But I know Xander and I have been talking about it, and when we're on road trips or out working outside, it's just fun to have our AirPods in and or on the radio in the truck, especially when we're out traveling somewhere to go hunting. Listen to other people's hunting stories. It's always fun. It's always fun to hear hunting stories and tell hunting stories with your buddies. So we love listening to them and wish there were more of them. So we thought we'd share a few of our own.
Yeah, we started thinking, man, we got some stories like that. So thought we'd share them with you guys. So yeah, let's start at the very beginning. Tell me about your first buck.
All right, sure. Well, I thought this was a great idea, by the way, Xander, to start our first podcast with our first buck stories, because I think, as like you said, we're great hunting buddies, and I'm a great hunting buddy with my dad. I was an only son with 3 sisters, and my dad loved to hunt and spend time in the outdoors, and both my grandpas, and I loved spending time with them and with my uncles and learning from my dad, and was so glad when he'd take me with him, and so glad when I started out, I think, with upland game and pheasants when I was really young, probably fishing before that. And then as I got a little older and could kind of keep up, I don't know how old I was, 6, 7, 8 years old, he started taking me deer hunting with him. And he and my grandpa, they were, meat hunters. That's their biggest, well, I shouldn't say biggest, they love spending time in the outdoors, but it was a way to supplement the budget and the freezer with meat, was to get a deer or an elk, and just had a great time hunting with him and following him around. Loved it. It was like Christmas morning when he'd wake me up, say it's time to go, and we'd get up early and he'd be fixing sandwiches in the kitchen. It'd be dark, probably like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and we'd get on the trail and start hiking well before sunrise, and it was always like Christmas morning. And I dreamed of that day when I would get to be the one that harvested the animal for the first time. So my first buck, we were hunting kind of out in the desert, west of Beaver, Utah, in the PJs, I guess, pinyons and junipers and sagebrush and rolling hills. And it was kind of in the middle of the day, actually. We hadn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we hadn't seen a buck, or I don't remember. We didn't get a buck in the morning on that opening day, and so my dad liked to hike, and so we started hiking, and we came over the top of this little hill, and we're kind of side hilling it in this draw with some cedar trees, and all of a sudden there was a little bit of ruckus, and across the canyon from us, it was a really small canyon. I think it was probably only 125, 150 yards across. And a little buck ran up the side of the hill, and I looked at my dad and he looked at me and he said, "Shoot it." And so I pulled up and got ready to shoot it. And right before I shot, he said to me, make sure you shoot it in the head so you don't ruin any meat. And so I tried to settle the crosshairs on its head, and I remember thinking, man, this is kind of hard because we were just standing, and didn't have a rest, didn't have shooting sticks. I was just standing and had the pressure of my dad saying, make sure you shoot it in the head and don't ruin any of the meat. And it was a little 2-point mule deer. And so my dad taught me how to shoot. When I was really young, he put me in a little club with, it was like a BB gun shooting club. And we'd compete against other teams with our BB guns. But he would take me out in the backyard and teach me to shoot. And I just remember him, just the things he taught me. Take a deep breath, let it out, steady, and pull on the trigger and just squeeze it, and so that you don't know when it's going to shoot, and you're surprised when it shoots, and just be relaxed. So that's what I did, and I shot it in the head. And it dropped, and he had a big smile and said, good job, buddy. And I'm sure I was smiling, and it was just a little 2-point, but I remember I started shaking and showing him my hands, and I had buck fever over this little 2-point, and just seeing my dad smile and pat me on the back, it was an amazing experience. And I think what made it even cooler was it was his rifle. It was a 25-06, and some people call it a Seiko, or some people call it Sako. I'm not sure what the real name of the brand is. I think it's Sako, but a 25-06, nice little gun. But he got drafted in 1968, and he served in Vietnam in 1969, sorry. And he served in Vietnam in 1969. No, he got drafted in 68 and served in Vietnam in 1969 and 1970 and was in heavy combat. And when he returned home from Vietnam, up to that point, he had always used my grandpa's gun, which was a Winchester Model 70 30-06. And but when he got home from Vietnam, he bought his own hunting rifle. It was a 25-06, Sako 25-06, and that's the rifle that I shot my first buck with. Was the first rifle that my dad bought for himself, first rifle he actually owned.
Oh, God.
So that made it really cool. And we celebrated, and then one of my favorite parts was we used to take all of our deer when we got a deer, and we would go to my grandpa's house, my grandpa Metcalf's house, and we would hang them in his garage. He had a cinder block garage that he added onto his house, and in October always stayed kind of cool in there. And he had an old double tree that he converted into a I'm trying to think what you'd call it. It was on a pulley system, and we'd hang the deer in his garage and let them dry age in his garage for a week or 10 days or 5 days, whatever it was. Grandpa used to go up and smell the meat, and he'd tell us when it was ready to butcher. And we would take it into my grandpa's basement, and we'd try to plan it when there was a football game on, or sometimes the World Series would be on in late October. And we'd try to plan the night around a football game or a World Series game. And we'd all sit around a kitchen table in the basement, and they'd go cut off a quarter in the garage and bring it down, and had knife sharpeners and knives, and we'd start butchering and listen to the ball game in the background and tell stories. And for me, that was as much fun as the hunt, was spending time with my dad and my grandpa, telling hunting stories, listening to hunting stories with a ball game in the background, and processing the meat, cutting it up into roasts and steaks. And my grandpa had an old meat grinder that you would wind by hand and grind the meat. And we would grind our own hamburger, and we'd wrap it and put it in the freezer, and then eat it all winter. And so, just great time.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys could have your own podcast. All you need was a recorder.
Right.
While you're butchering the deer.
Yeah, I wish we did have recorders back then in social media, because Some of all those stories pretty much from my grandpa are just here now.
Yeah.
Didn't get any of them recorded, so glad we're doing this, so we have some of our own stories.
Speaking of grandpa, I think I remember you telling me the story like where you were following him with both your hands in your pocket or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. So one of the times when we went out hunting, and I was just a little guy, I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and my grandpa was in his late 70s probably at that time. He's probably 78, 79, 80 years old. So I think my dad put me with him so he could go do some serious hiking, and I was with grandpa, and grandpa was hard of hearing and couldn't hear much, and he didn't wear hearing aids. And so I was following grandpa, and he had his old Model 70, Winchester Model 70 30-06. He loved that gun. We still have that gun. And he was walking down the trail with his rifle on his shoulder, and he had a sweater on, and his orange, they're kind of like an old plastic orange hat, and they used to wear their tag on the front of their hat to make it easy for the fish and game guy to check them, I guess.
No way.
Yeah, we still have
right there.
yeah, it's like with a safety pin on the front of the hat. We still have that hat. I'll have to find it. Your grandpa, my dad still has my grandpa's hat, his orange hat. It's hanging on his wall in his basement. Mm-hmm. And it's an old orange, kind of like plastic or vinyl.
I think I've seen that hat.
Have you seen it? It still has a tag on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a mining helmet.
No, it was an old deer hunting hat, and he used to wear his, I think other guys did too, but they used to put their tag in a little plastic thing and pin it to the front of their orange hat.
No way.
I guess to make it easy for the game warden to check them. And he was wearing that, and we were walking down the trail, and I don't remember a lot about the hunt. I just remember following grandpa, and I think I was cold, and so I had my hands in my pocket, and I'm walking down the trail, and I hit a branch or something, and just fell right on my face and couldn't catch myself because my hands were in my pocket. Fell on my face and was like, oh, I look up, and grandpa didn't even hear me.
Hands still in your pocket.
Hands still in my pocket, dirt all over my face, everything. I don't even remember what hurt, but jump up, and grandpa's like way ahead of me now. I was trying to keep up with him. He's way ahead, so I had to jump up and run and catch up with grandpa, and he never even knew it happened. But that's one of my earliest memories of hunting. So I think I was 5. I don't know, 5, 6 years old.
Oh wow.
Following my grandpa around.
That's crazy. I have another question. So does grandpa still have that gun you shot your first buck with?
He does.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he does. He
can't
does.
sell the first rifle you buy.
No, he's never sold a gun.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever sold a gun. I never have either.
Oh really?
I've never sold a gun, so I think that's just kind of the way we do things. Is once you have a gun, don't sell it. Keep it.
Cowboys don't sell their saddles, and mountain men don't sell their rifles.
Right. Don't sell your guns. Don't sell your rifles. Keep them. Keep them in your family. They're heirlooms. That old Model 70 Winchester 30-06 that was my grandpa's, and then he passed it down to my dad. My dad used it before it was his rifle and after. And my first hunting trip to Africa, Grandpa Metcalf was gone by then, but I really thought, man, it would have been cool to have 3 generations in that first Africa camp, but Grandpa wasn't with us anymore, and so I took his rifle. I took that old Model 70 Winchester 30-06 to Africa, and I shot all my animals with it.
That's cool.
And I thought, well, Grandpa's gone, he can't be in camp with us, but the next best thing is to take his rifle with us. Yeah, so I took it, and I shot all my animals with it, and then my dad got sentimental, and he took, I think it was his blessed buck. He said, I think I want to take an animal with Grandpa's rifle too. So I remember he took at least one with that old 30-06. So we didn't have my grandpa with us in safari camp, but we had his rifle with us.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's
really cool. We haven't done much to it. We changed the scope out, but it still has a metal plate on the butt. And at one time I asked my dad when I was younger about putting I forgot what you call them. Just like the cushion recoil
stuff.
Recoil pad. Put a recoil pad on it. And he said, "No, I want to keep it just the way Dad had it." And so it still has a metal plate on the butt. And and it's got a couple of tick marks scratched in the rifle. And it's got one where he put his nose, so he put his nose in the same place every time, and it's got a couple of tick marks on the rifle, on the butt. It's real scratched up. And I asked my dad one time, "What are those tick marks?" And he said, "I think Grandpa started keeping track of how many animals he shot with it or something at one point, and then gave up on it, or it would have been covered up there."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's still in the same condition that my grandpa used it when he hunted with it back in the 50s and 60s.
That's
So-
awesome.
And 70s before he passed it down to my dad.
So was he?
Well, I think he's still using the 80s too. What's that?
Was he a pretty good shot too then?
Grandpa?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I was saying, he was a grandpa. My grandpa Metcalf was he was really a meat hunter, and my understanding was from my dad that back in the day when you had a deer tag, you could shoot. It was an either sex tag, so you could shoot a buck or a doe, and my dad said that grandpa, if he had a chance at shooting a dry doe, that's what he shot because he said they tasted better. So he preferred dry does over antlers.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was all about the meat, which is great. Still is today, but
Can you imagine
I
being
think-
a
sorry.
Can you imagine being a deer standing there with Grandpa lined up with the crosshairs with his tag on his forehead, his unnotched tag on his forehead? I can't think of a scarier sight as a deer.
Right? Yeah, he was a great shot. Grandpa Metcalf was a great shot, and my dad, your Grandpa Metcalf, of course, is a great shot. You know, you've seen him. He's an amazing shot.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if that's where he got it from.
I think he did. He learned from my grandpa, and then also he got a lot of training in the military.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's a great shot.
yeah. I don't think I've ever seen him not hit the heart.
Yeah,
Grandpa.
there's been a couple times, but not many.
Yeah, not many.
Not many. He takes his time and he picks his shot, and if he doesn't feel good about it at all or doesn't think it's a good shot, he doesn't take it. He's let many animals walk away because he just wants it to be a one shot clean kill, and he lets animals walk if he doesn't think he's got it. So
Yeah, we got to
He
get him on
rarely
the
misses.
podcast.
yeah, we need to. We'll get him on the podcast.
Grandpa Sam Metcalf. Yeah, he even has that plaque in his basement. One shot, one kill. That's gun control.
Yes, that's right. He does. He does. Yep. Well, any more questions for me, or I'm interested in hearing about. I was there
Yeah.
for your first buck.
Yeah, you're my witness.
Yeah, I'm your witness. I know it happened. I saw it, but that's still excited to hear you talk about yours. Unless you got any more questions for me.
Yeah, actually, really quick, you mentioned that BB gun club. Like,
Oh yeah.
did you win any trophies or anything? Or
We did. Yeah. Our team won a competition, and I won some individual competitions. I don't remember if they gave us medals or trophies or certificates, but I know Grandpa Sam, he was pretty proud of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder why the BB gun didn't translate to rifle.
Don't believe Xander. You can't believe everything Xander says.
Well, I have some footage. We'll have to share.
Yeah, don't believe everything Xander tells you.
Well, if you don't believe my lies are true, ask the blind man. He saw them.
That's right. That's what Grandpa Barney always said.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, yeah. Well, Xander, why don't you tell us about your first buck, your Rite of Passage?
Yeah, it's kind of sad now because it was on the Monroe, and that's almost completely burned this year.
It did. It was on fire for a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We haven't been down to check it out, but yeah, I understand it's just about all burned up.
Yeah. So.
in a fire this summer.
But who knows? Like the one up here, it burned pretty good, but there's still lots of patches.
Yeah,
Good
and
hunting.
fire's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fire's good.
It can be good.
Yeah.
In years down the road, be some good habitat.
Yeah. So yeah, it was the muzzleloader hunt. My very first hunt was the muzzleloader hunt, and I remember a couple things from it. Like the elk were going nuts. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that night? I was just learning how to bugle, and I was going crazy one night. I had like 4 different bulls going, and this one was like one of the only hunts where we actually stayed in a tent. Remember that? We
Yeah.
stayed in a tent,
We did.
and I had that one bull going, and he stopped like an hour before we went to bed. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He was just on the other side of the ridge. Then we all went to bed, and we're all sound asleep. And probably 10 feet from our tent, he rips another bugle. He came in silent the rest of the way while we were getting ready for bed.
Yeah.
And probably 10 feet away from the tent, ripped a bugle.
Yeah.
So
That was crazy. He came right into camp.
I remember like hearing the snot in his throat.
Yeah, he came right into our camp. Yeah.
That was the coolest alarm system.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Best way to wake up.
I can't believe he did. We smelled really bad.
Yeah,
Everything, we were sitting around the campfire that night. We all smelled like smoke.
our smoke was probably still smoldering.
Yeah, I think our fire was probably still smoldering a little bit. Dumped water and stuff on it. But yeah, he walked right between, I think if I remember when we looked at his tracks in the morning, he walked right between the fire and the tent, didn't he? Walked between them.
He was running like crazy.
Yeah, he
They had,
came
like,
right
4 of them
into
going.
us. Yeah.
He must have just said, okay, they're down that valley. I'm just going.
Yeah.
And I'm moving to bed.
That was fun.
Yeah, so that was a good memory from my first buck. And then I remember we saw the buck before, and we named him after the road he was on. It was like 2316 or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. I
Remember
forgot
that?
that. Yeah.
I think it was like,
After the numbers the Forest Service gave the road.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like 2316, I think.
That's the road we used to go into that area.
Yeah, and I remember he was just a little forky on one side, but then on the other side he was another forky, but then his bottom tine split again into 2 more. So he was a 4x2. And so even though he was kind of little, I remember I wanted him. And so we tried to stalk that first night, didn't see him. And then a couple more days went by, and we'd go back down 2316, didn't see him. And then finally that one night we finally saw him again, right where he was the first time we saw him. And so we had a better plan this time. We left the 4-wheelers way behind, and we crawled on our bellies through the sagebrush. He was up against he wouldn't come out into the meadow. He'd stay right against the trees. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we crawled against our bellies all the way over to him. And you peeked. Remember that?
Yeah.
You looked over the
Sagebrush.
and did he see
Got up a
you?
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he
He
saw
saw
you.
us. He locked on.
Yeah, he looked on, and I just remember I'm laying there on my belly with it was my kid's model muzzler. Remember?
Yeah. It's a little kid's model muzzle, shorter stock, shorter barrel,
Deadly
little
though.
lightweight. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you peek up, and without even looking over my, you just go, now or never. I go, now or never? You go, now or never. And I pop up, and I put the I know it was even crosshairs, it was open sight.
It was open sights.
Yeah, I put the open sights right on, and boom! And he ran maybe like 10 yards and piled up. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good hunt. That was fun. But just like you were
That was
saying.
fun. You're just a little guy.
I was a
You
little
were like,
guy.
were you 12? I
Yeah.
remember. 12 years old?
Yeah. I remember got up, saw those tines. We'll have to post a picture or something.
Yeah.
Of him. We still have him.
Yeah.
Just his rack, but yeah, his bottom tine split into 3. It was just right at the end.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just like you were saying. I felt like I could run through a brick wall. Still do every time. I still get the jitters a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that was fun. That was so much fun.
then we named him 2316.
Is that what we named him?
Yeah.
That was fun. That was really fun. That's, I think, you think like getting your first buck or getting a big buck is one of the best feelings in the world, but something that's even better than that is when your kid does.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I obviously don't have a kid yet, but I know what you're saying. Like I remember when you taught me how to hunt. I'm like, you mean I just get to hang out with Dad and Grandpa and drink root beer all day? Like this is the life. And then when Briggs came along, and I got to teach my little brother Briggs the ropes of hunting. I was like, man, this is even better. Getting to pass it on. So can't wait to have my own kid.
Yeah, that'll be fun. It'll come. Look forward to it, but at the same time, enjoy the time you got now.
Yeah.
It'll come soon enough.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember too, after I shot him, we were driving back on the 4-wheeler after the adrenaline had died down a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should say this. Grandpa Sam was maybe like 75 years old. And remember we started towing him back.
He would have been, let's see. So that was 10 years ago, 9 years ago?
Yeah.
So, let's see, Grandpa turned 81 this year. So he was about 70. Yeah, you're
about
right.
70. So yeah, he's about 70. I remember we were
70,
dragging
71
him back.
years old, yeah.
We're driving back to the 4-wheeler through the sagebrush. And Grandpa comes over and grabs one of the tines and starts pulling with us. He said, "No, I gotta help with my grandson's first buck."
Yeah.
Those old timers are just built different.
Yeah, he's always got to be involved. Your Grandpa Metcalf was the same way.
Yeah.
When he was in his 80s, late 80s even, we'd go hang a deer in his garage, and he'd grab a knife sharpener and come out and start skinning with right along with us.
Yeah. So awesome.
It is.
But I remember driving back after the adrenaline had dropped a little bit. I started thinking about what happened and stuff, and I remember I said, "Dad, I don't know if I can do this." And you said, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Man, I don't really know if I like the way I felt after I killed that buck. Like, I don't know if I like killing animals." And I remember you said, "I totally understand if hunting's not for you, but just know the day you like it, the day you like killing animals, is the day you need to stop."
Yeah.
And that's just always resonated with me. It totally changed my mindset and helped me realize, like, whoa, this is a lot more than just killing the animal. This is about something more than just killing.
Yeah, it is for sure. Like, I mean, we obviously enjoy the whole experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know with me personally, I actually get a little adrenaline rush when I do shoot something.
Uh-huh.
But like you said, when you walk up on it, there's moments where you're really happy and you're thrilled, and then there is those quiet moments of reflection where you realize you just took an animal's life and you're responsible for that. And the reason that I said that to you is because that's what my dad said to me. One time, do we have time for another story?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so one time when I was about 20, I think I was 21 years old, 21, 22 years old, and I'd taken lots of animals at that point. But for some reason, it really affected me this one time. We were bow hunting, and we were standing next to each other, and we snuck up on two bucks that were standing right by each other. And Grandpa said, "You go ahead, you shoot, you take the one on the left, I'll take the one on the right if he still sticks around." I'm like, okay. We had some sort of conversation like that. And we ended up shooting both bucks. The one buck stuck around after we poked the first buck in. I think I shot the first buck, but either way, I was too high. I was a little high. I shot him high in the back, and I severed his spine or did something. He was still alive, but his back end of his body wouldn't work. He was paralyzed, and his front legs worked, and he was trying to crawl away on his front legs because I made a bad shot with my bow, and then I didn't have the gravel in my gut at the time to finish him off, and so Grandpa finished him for me, and then we tracked his animal down. His animal ran a little ways, and we found it, and it was kind of a cool experience to be with my dad, the two of us, with two bucks, and we got both bucks with our bows.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool experience, but I remember just feeling really bad about what I did, and we got in camp, and I was telling my dad, "Dad, I think I'm not going to hunt anymore." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "I just felt terrible about what happened, and feel bad about killing that buck. It's just really bothering me." And he said the same thing that I said to you. I wish I could take credit for it. I was just passing on what Grandpa taught me. He said, "I understand, son. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But can I tell you something?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, the day that you don't feel bad, even if it's just a little bit, the day you don't feel bad about killing an animal and have that moment of reflection, and that's probably the day you ought to think about not hunting. I'm not worried about you. I think you're fine, and I'm not worried about you, because you do have those feelings when you take an animal. And he said that's totally natural, and it's normal, and it's all part of it. And when that doesn't happen to you anymore, that's probably when you ought to quit. But I'll support you either way. Yeah. And then I thought about it, and I've been hunting ever since. and I do have to admit, there is an adrenaline rush when you pull the trigger or squeeze the release. But then there's that moment of reflection where you think about what you've done and you've taken an animal's life and it's God's creation. And I think just make sure that you use the animal, you respect it, you use it, you eat it, and you do what you can to contribute to conservation efforts and making sure that public land stays public and wild animals stay wild, and there's lots of them, and you do good fair chase, and you practice your craft, and so that you make good shots, and sometimes you don't, but you do your best to do it, and you do your best to recover animals and take care of the meat and make sure it gets used, and it's all good. And I totally respect people who can't do it or don't want to do it. I get it. But I'm also glad there's a bunch of us who do it and enjoy it.
I couldn't agree more. Like my wife, Macy, like she loves the outdoors, loves the mountains, loves animals, and she tells me all the time she can't kill anything. I totally respect her for it. Totally understand. I totally get it. But like you're saying, I just love the perspective it gives you. Something about it just puts you in your place.
Yeah, there's something, people who get it and have done it and understand it will know what I'm about to say, but there's something really spiritual about it.
Yeah.
About taking a life and then processing it. It's like, some people are gonna laugh, but people really enjoy gardening, and those vegetables and those berries taste better because they planted them, they weeded them, they fertilized them, they harvested them, and those vegetables and fruits taste better to them. And for me, it's the same with meat and protein. It's you worked for it, you packed it out on your back, and it tastes better.
Yeah.
And
it
draws you closer to nature, draws you closer to God, I think.
I agree. Part of that though is just because you're such a good cook.
Now you're telling the truth.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe we gotta keep those recipes a secret. Maybe those won't make it on the podcast. Maybe we'll get people close. We just won't tell them the secret at the very end. So, well, cool. Yeah, I think. Do you have anything else you wanted to say about that? Or?
No. Just you'll probably close us up, but just want to say that.
Yeah, because what we want to do too is we want to, on the podcast, every guest we have, we want to get their best, or their favorite scripture or quote or piece of advice, and so today's my dad's turn, Ty Metcalf's turn. So
okay, yeah, I'll be happy to. And I was just gonna say, just appreciate whoever's listening or watching. Thanks for your time and attention, and hope you enjoyed it. And we'll try to tell some more stories. And I think Xander's vision, he's the one that came up with this, is we just love good stories, good hunting stories, outdoor stories. And so if you've got one, you may have your own podcast, and that's great. But if you don't and you'd like to share your story on this one, we'd love to hear from you, and would love to have you keep listening and share it. And if you liked it, and we'll try to do these often, so come back and listen to another one. But so Xander, as he said, he wanted to kind of give people a chance to share a story or a piece of advice or a scripture or something.
Uh-huh.
And so what I was going to share is, since I talked about my dad and how he's a Vietnam veteran, in college I interviewed him about his experience and kind of put together a little book. I just wanted to share a quote from that book. He was in real heavy combat in Vietnam, and this is one of the quotes I wanted to share tonight. He said, "Most of our guys were killed instead of captured. Because of everything that went on when we were captured or killed, we had an agreement among the guys in my squad. We would never leave anybody. If we had to retreat or somebody got wounded or died, we would take them with us. We promised each other. I always felt comforted by that they would never leave me. I know everyone else was too. We had to retreat occasionally, but we never left anybody. That was our own code of conduct. We would never leave each other. That is all we had, each other. It was our code. We never left anybody." I really respect that. And I'm glad that my dad has that kind of character and integrity, and so did his buddies, and those kind of values, and that he has tried to teach me those same things. So I guess my thought tonight is to not leave our buddies behind when, and family members, when they're going through tough times. Don't leave them alone. Don't leave them behind. And then also just to give a shout out to all of our veterans who have served, all the great men and women, and who are serving now, and just say thank you. Thank you for protecting our way of life, and for defending freedom, and for not leaving us behind and leaving others behind. That's my thought for tonight.
Thanks, Dad. That's awesome. Man, we gotta get Grandpa on here.
Yeah, we'll get him on some.
We just give him like the best introduction ever. It's cool though. I feel like you can see that even in hunting, Grandpa still holds that. Like, doesn't matter how steep the hill was, doesn't matter how hard the hike was. Every time he cracks open a new bottle of water, he makes sure everyone else gets a drink before he does.
Yeah, and he would never leave you behind. Lots of stories we can tell about that.
Yeah, well,
too.
Yeah, little
He's
taste,
the best
little
hunting
flavor,
buddy ever.
little flavor. So, well, cool. Anything else, Dad?
No, close us out.
Okay, I think we'll call that a wrap then. Like my dad said, if you like this, go ahead and like it, tell a friend, and let's get your story on here. Let's get rolling. So, thanks.
See you everybody.